That's right, players. Today we're going to be building up Inquisitor Albus Grey. This is a miniature from Artel W. Link below in the description to check out the entire Brotherhood. That's what they're called. Here he is, all built up on my table. An Inquisitor is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Boy, this was a build. I'm going to take you through the most tricky part of the build for me, and in case you want to build him up for yourself. But what a beautiful sculpt. I cannot believe how much nostalgic fun I started having once I started building him. It's like a mixture of two things that I love so much, which is that Warhammer 40k grimdark vibe. Especially if you decide to go with a chainsword option. I went with the ancient sword, but I mean, you could tell he's got some tech draping off of him. He's got purity seals. He just looks terrific, and I'm really happy that I built him up. I'm going to be building the rest of the Brotherhood. It's what they call the Fellowship, and this is a model from Artel W. It's a company that specializes in producing high quality boutique resin miniatures for your war games, for your board games like D&D if you want to use these, or other such tabletop games. I just love the miniatures they produce so much. They are such a terrific company. And if you want to get him in a bundle, here he is leading the Brotherhood of the Nine. It's the Artel W version of the Fellowship of the Ring. And I've already built up those little halfling sharpshooters at the front. You might have seen that video. Check it out if you haven't seen that one already. They're a great characterful group of little dudes, and I'm going to be building up the rest of the Brotherhood as we go. Now, when you get your miniatures in the mail, you get them in a little box, and the box is full of these tiny plastic baggies. This is the great thing, because they are resin miniatures. They don't come on like plastic sprue frames. They come in individual pieces, and these pieces are going to be put into a baggie, so you're never going to mix up your characters' arms and legs and have to figure out who goes where. All of the characters are individually wrapped. Even the halflings are individually wrapped, because just the slight modification of the pose is gonna come out with like a completely different build if you switch out arms or legs. You can see there I've got my plan today is to use my super glue here with this paint little paint holder and the toothpick. That's because I am so clumsy. I overuse super glue. It gets everywhere. It's a big mess. And I actually saw this from Artel W's YouTube channel, where they put some super glue on the side and then they use a toothpick to apply it. Now here is the ancient sword that I end up using. You can see a little flash that is going to need to be clipped off. The alternative is to have Albus holding the handle of a chainsword in its scabbard, and that's got like a purity seal on it. Way more science fiction-y. That was my first inclination, was to build him up with that, but I decided in the end to go old school with the ancient sword. Everything else needs a little bit of clipping, and it took me a while to figure out what is what. But if you look at the pictures on the Artel W website, it's pretty easy to figure out. All right, now is the time to head over to Artel W. Use my code, or my link in the description. It's an affiliate code. So full transparency, if you do decide to purchase anything, my commission will be a small commission that I earn for the studio, but I thank you for that. And I love these miniatures so much. They're all terrific. I would get them all if I could afford it, but right now I'm going to really focus on the ones that I have, build them up and paint them up for you so that you can spread the word about how terrific these are. Love is in the air, special discount for the next week for special pairs, kind of like in a Valentine's Day pairing. All right, I went and I started building my guy here. Now, what I should have done was build him on the rock, because if you put the rock on the base, then build the legs, you could put the feet into their special little holes in the rocks. Instead of trying to build the body, put the torso and the legs together, and then maybe end up having the legs be a little too spaced out and not fit the holes that the pegs on the bottom of the feet are supposed to go into. So always from now on, if I had to do this again, I would build him from the bottom up. Base, glue on the rock, glue the 2 feet together. That will make the legs come together. Then you can glue the little bag there. There's a hole in the right leg where that pouch goes. Then glue the torso on, and then glue the arm holding the sword. Now the left, or the right arm rather, you have to glue it with the pipe that has a little bit of smoke coming out. But Here's a picture of a shot of the chainsword that I'm not going to use. But the staff here, Gandalf, Albus's staff comes in 2 pieces. When you put it together, it's going to just be casually leaning on him because his free hand is holding the pipe. So there's no slot, there's no little nook to put it into. There's no hole on the rock for the bottom spear tip of the staff to go into. So you have to kind of angle it. And what I decided to do was angle it so that the hand that's holding the crystal ball at the top of the staff looks like like a hand holding a crystal orb, so that it's kind of facing with the butt of the palm facing outwards. You're going to see what I mean in a second when I kind of show it to you. But here I'm dry fitting it. Like I said, there's no guide for where you're going to be gluing it. All I know is that when you look at the picture on the website, the staff is leaning against him and he's got his arm wrapped around with his pipe. That's going to be the trickiest part of this build. That's why this build is a little bit more advanced than if you're only used to building Games Workshop stuff. But here I've got my handy dandy toothpick. I'm finding 2 glue points at the foot and in the crook of the shoulder. And then I'm just going to gently lean in the staff so it rests against the shoulder, and the point is just in front of his toe of his boot, and it is going to create a nice vertical, almost vertical, like a diagonalish line to emphasize his silhouette. There he is. All right, once that is in place, I'm going to, you can kind of see a little bit of the detail of the hand there holding the orb. I kind of have it so that the butt of the palm is facing the camera. I think that's the most interesting way to position it. So now you've got this tiny little pipe piece and you've got the head. These are the last 2 pieces of this build. First I thought, well, maybe we'll glue in the pipe, and then when I put the head in, I'll just angle his mouth so it goes over the mouthpiece of the pipe. But then I realized, like, it might move it around too much. It might be easier if I have the head on, then I've got 2 glue points that I can finagle the pipe into the space. Now, if you see this piece, this resin piece, it almost looks like flash for the pipe. Don't throw it away. Don't think, oh, there's an extra piece of flash or a clipping, throw it away. No, you gotta be a little patient. Maybe use tweezers. That might have helped me a little bit, but I've decided to just go in raw with my big sausage ogren fingers and pray to all the gods that it goes in correctly. So here the head fits really nicely. The beard is sculpted in a way that you can kind of feel when the head is put in the way it's supposed to go. Like there's no real give or no real variation to which way his head is going to be looking, and it shouldn't be, because he's got that pipe that he's supposed to have in his mouth and holding in his hand. So it really needs to be precise. But the thing, if you look at this model, his staff looks like it's pushing down the brim of the hat. It looks absolutely amazing. It is one of the most brilliant things that I didn't notice about this model. The other brilliant thing is hanging off of his right hip is a book that is 95% hidden. You only see it when you're putting the legs on, and you can kind of see a peek of the pages, but there's a fully sculpted book that nobody will ever see the cover of, because his legs are now covering it. It's just insane, mind-boggling how the sculptors had so much care and thought put into the sculpt that they made something that nobody would ever see. That's what I really love about Artel. Like, they don't take shortcuts. They really figure out how they want to make something look like what it is emulating, like what it's taking inspiration from. And here you can see, oh boy, this is the trickiest part of the build. Take a little glue off of my toothpick, and I'm gonna put just a little bit, just give him a little kiss. And then put the, oh boy, the pipe piece. I'm gonna try to angle it so that the pipe piece goes in his mouth, and then I'm gonna rest it against the hand and then use like a toothpick. And I think I get a modeling tool at some point to try to push it into place. But let me tell you, if you've ever played Operation as a kid, then you know the kind of stress that I was feeling right now, because the minute that glue dries, like say there was some Bob Smith Industries super glue accelerator that just drips onto it. It's stuck. It's going to be frozen forever, and it's not going to come out. So I really had to be patient in this most critical step of the build. Because if his pipe is not hanging out, if you just decide like, oh, I'm too lazy to figure this out, and you don't put the pipe in, it's gonna look so weird. He's holding the end of a pipe that's puffing, and he's making like a little curved lip expression. If you take a good look at his face, that it looks like he should be sucking on a pipe. So you gotta do it. And it's just some patience, trial and error. But it's, you know what this reminded me of? It's like playing not Bloodborne, but yeah, like a Dark Souls game where it looks impossible, right? It looks just too tricky, and you figure it out. And then at this point I was like, well, what if I hold the toothpick in my left hand while I use the modeling tool in the right hand, and the toothpick is going to kind of hold it in place in the back while I angle it with the front tool. And when you get it so that it aligns, there is no greater feeling, guys. And I think that's the joy of this hobby, that sometimes we forget, or we lose that joy, that spark. As Marie Kondo would say, that spark of joy, we lose it because of how many new models are coming out, how much we want to collect and optimize. And like the simple joy of building this model really brought me back like 10, 15 years ago to when I was just getting back into the game. All the models look like so much fun to build, and now I've got it in my hand. It really is a fun model. You guys, pick this up. I swear you're gonna love having him on your shelf, on your table. Bring him out. Just make him be like a wizard in your D&D games. Have him be a commander or something if you play Astra Militarum, or if you're an Inquisitor, Agents of the Imperium. Like, have him be one of your guys, and everybody will just be amazed that you have this Gandalf figure. Of course, the best thing to do would be order the whole Brotherhood. Get the Space Faramir and Boromir and Gimli and Legolas and the little hobbits. Put them in as ratlings. I just love this miniature, and I think you guys are going to love it too. So again, link in the description is going to take you straight to the RTLW website. Check out the sale that's going on right now, if it's not over yet. But definitely for sure, check out the whole Brotherhood of the Nine. Look at that. He's gathering up all his little halflings, all his little hobbits, and then he's going to start, we're going to start adding to this Brotherhood the other 4 models. We've got Boromir, and Aragorn. That's the one. Aragorn, Boromir, Gimli, and Legolas. Of course, they've got their own non-copyrighted names, and I just can't wait to have the whole Brotherhood together to show you guys. All right, thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other content, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.